So yes, I'm David Wakeford from TfL. I'm going to spend the next 4 or 20 minutes, hopefully, running through TfL's property development plans and where we're up to on that. And you'll see I've given it the very clever, I think, I'm sure you'll agree, title of a platform for regeneration, which does perfectly describe what the opportunity is ahead of us. Some corporate blurb there for you. Right, I'd like to introduce you to our team, because after all, property is a people business. And continuing the theme of fairly poor quality puns, the team is on track to deliver significant regeneration to London. I'd also like to add, I'm in the middle there, and you'll notice I'm not small, I'm 6.5 foot tall. That doesn't mean that we're some sort of team of freakishly tall, 7 foot tall development people. The photographer has shrunk me, which I'm very upset about. I assume there are probably some lawyers in the room, so perhaps you could speak to me afterwards. I won't run you through everyone, but second from left, so I'll pick up some names in case you've worked with these guys before. Second from left is a guy called Andrew Anderson, who joined from Barrett's about 9 months ago. If you come right into the middle, over my left shoulder, with follically challenged, shall we say, with the glasses, that's Mark Witham, came from Spenhill, the Tesco's development arm. To my left, in the picture to the left, is Kelly Lopez. She came from London Quadrant. Next to her, chap with the beard and hands in his pockets, that's Chris Townend. He was Development Director at New Covent Garden Market Authority. Then right at the end, on the left of the picture, that's Jonathan Cornelius, who's one of the old TfL originals. He's our lead on Earl's Court. So if you've worked with TfL property development, you've probably encompassed this guy at some point. And in many ways, he's the reason why this team has come together, because Earl's Court is our joint venture with Capco, and sort of sowed a seed as to why TfL might want to do property development. So, why are all these people standing here smiling at you? Why is TfL, the Transport Authority, looking at doing property development? Well, there are 2 reasons, and you can't do a presentation around property without having a pie chart, so I'm going to get my pie chart out nice and early. TfL earn and spend around £10 billion a year, and it won't be much of a surprise that much of that comes from fares. It's only half of it. A quarter of it comes from other stuff, which I won't go into. But the bit I want to focus on is the yellowy-orange segment, which is our grant funding, and that will come as no surprise to you, that's getting cut. On the flip side of the pie chart here, the money we spend, of course, we really only spend money on head offices, people like me, and trains and tracks, and that, of course, is going up. So there's real impetus for us to earn money. And I mustn't forget my final terrible pun, mind the gap. Funding cuts on the way. Almost forgot that. So there's real impetus on us to earn money. The department I sit in is the commercial department. We're targeted to deliver £3.4 billion of money net to TfL over the next 10 years. Around half of that is from stuff that we've done for a long time. So renting properties, advertising, and things like car parking and so on. The new bit is the bit on the left, property development. And whilst we've done it in the past, there's a huge impetus on us now to deliver much more money from that. And we're targeted to deliver £1.1 billion from property development over the next 10 years. So that's the first reason, money. We need money. Second reason is land. It probably won't surprise you to hear that we have what we think is the largest and most diverse portfolio of land in London. Almost 6,000 acres of land, and I've called it land because there's not a single greenfield site in it. It's at the browner end of brownfield, shall we say. We're talking tube stations, train stations, bus stations. We own many of the roads, so anything with a single or double red line on it is ours. That means we own quite a few gyratories as well. Sidings, all sorts of weird and wonderful stuff that's really difficult to develop, which is why it hasn't been sold or developed already. We're also part of the GLA family, so huge pressure on us to deliver what London really needs, housing. So, short of money, got land. A couple of years ago, obviously someone had a eureka moment and thought we should do something with that. And this led to the launch of a framework. And what the rationale was, we want to invite joint venture partners, the private sector, to help us deliver our land. The rationale there being that it's very, very difficult to deliver our land because of the reasons I've set out. It's very difficult to find the right person in TfL to speak to about knocking down a tube station or getting the right consents to build over a railway. So we'll deliver it in joint venture with partners, people on the inside like me, helping the private sector to realise value from our land. and partly because it means that we'll have a bit more skin in the game. We'll put money in, we'll get profit out. So this was 18 months ago. Got no money, got land, let's launch a framework. Obviously, you need a business plan. I won't run you through the whole business plan because it's huge and frankly rather boring, but I will run you through what are our 5 key drivers. So how we want all our sites to be developed. The first 2 are very linked, placemaking and corporate social responsibility. If you consider all our sites, or most of them we've owned for a very, very long time, many of them we've owned for 100 plus years, and we hope to own them for another 100 plus years. The quality of the developments that we do on our sites is of paramount importance. The quality of the spaces, etc. If you consider as well, many of the sites are often the most important part of a town centre, the main transport node. And we're going to do this responsibly, sustainably, and with things like apprenticeships. The next 3 are also very linked. So most of our sites will have to deliver some sort of infrastructure upgrade, be it a new road, step-free access to a tube station, new bus station, whatever it might be. Also have to deliver money and housing, affordable and private housing. And you'll understand we can't just sacrifice 2 of those to generate pots and pots of cash. Got to deliver all 3, and a good balance of all 3. Excuse me. So that's our business plan. The opportunity then. So the opportunity that we launched the market midway through last year, and this is actually where I came in. This is what sort of turned my eye, because I joined TfL about 6 months ago, and many of the team are like that. This is what drew our eye. The opportunity launched the market. We identified 50 to 70 of our sites capable of delivering about 9,000 residential units, or if you stack it up with all the other uses, about 10 million square foot of space. And 2/3 of those sites are in central London. So I love this map. I spent a worryingly long time studying this map, particularly when I was going through my interviews, trying to establish where all the red dots were. It's impossible, don't even try. That's about 50 to 55 sites, which that's only 5 or 10% of the portfolio. And it's just exciting what we can do with this. So very resilient. When central London is overheating as it is now, we can go out to zone 6 and vice versa. We can deliver a range of uses, whatever the market needs, we can do it within TfL sites. And as you'd expect, we had a very, very positive response. We had 60 or so responses from developers, which we've slowly but surely whittled down to 13. So in February of this year, we finalised the framework. And when I say February, it was announced in February, but actually the ink's just drying on the contracts in the last week. So those are our development partners. People you might expect to be on there, of course. There are a few household names missing, but we're very, very, very happy with the quality of our development partners. I don't suppose there's anyone in the room from any of these companies. I think I saw someone from Bellway, but unfortunately they didn't make it. Yes, sorry. Where are you from? Bellway, oh right, oh dear Christ, move on. So those are our partners. So that's where we are now. This is where we've got to. As I said, the contracts have just been signed, and the team's been incredibly busy over the last year preparing for this moment. We've been working actively on 30 or 40 of our sites to get them ready for the market, de-risk them, do feasibility studies on. So I'm going to run you through the first 9. I'd love to talk to you about more, but I'll run you through fairly rapidly as well. I'm going to spend 30 seconds on each, so it's a real quick canter through the first 9 sites and the kind of challenges that we have in developing the sites such as this. The first one is Kidbrooke. So Kidbrooke Station, which is just about a mile south of the O2. And the site is the sort of semicircular piece of land you can see there, south of the road, north of the tracks. It's a piece of land that was left over, I think, when we did some work to the A2 in the 80s. And actually, on the scale of things, this is actually not a particularly difficult site to deliver. But there is a bus station on site, so we've had to design a new bus station, better public realm, and a better interchange with the station. But this is suitable for about 400 units. This will be the first site up. We'll be launching this in the next month or so. Into more central London here, this is a great site, brilliant opportunity, very close to London Bridge Station. There's a couple of constraints which may suggest why we haven't delivered it already. The Jubilee line runs underneath. The construction tunnels used to build the Jubilee line also run underneath. as does a construction shaft in the middle of the site that was filled in. There's also the power line tunnels that power the Northern Line and Jubilee Line underneath. There's a large Roman mosaic tiled floor at minus 1.5 metres somewhere. And there's also a burial ground from the 1800s with about 5,000 remains in it. So no wonder we haven't already sold this or developed it. But the team have been coming up with strategies to resolve that, do the right thing for the site, things like foundations, etc. Right, this is Crossrail, so I'm cheating a bit here. Crossrail's not technically my team, but we're like brother and sisters, so we work very, very closely together. This is Farringdon East Crossrail station, so for those that don't know, Crossrail is so enormous that most of them have 2 stations. This is just east of Smithfield Market. Got consent about a year ago at Appeal, and Crossrail are building it at the moment. They're building the station box from about minus 40 metres up to the first floor, including the station and some retail, which they'll retain, and the opportunity for the market will be about 12,000 square metres of office to be built above a deck. And the real reason why I included that was this. So we got the opportunity to go around in the tunnels, which was great fun, but just makes you think, we're all here talking about regeneration. This is going to deliver a huge amount of regeneration. We've already heard about Oak Common. It will deliver regeneration to parts of East and West London that need it, but it will certainly enable development in parts of East and West London. And the scale of it is huge. If you've ever been lucky enough to go down there, you'll understand the platforms are 250 metres long, which is 3 times longer than a tube platform. Absolutely incredible. London Road siding, so this is sort of typical of lots of our schemes. We might be standing here in 10 years' time claiming to be world leaders in deck-based developments. We have lots of sidings and railways. This is quite simply placing a very large deck over some sidings, probably 300 units. This will be coming forward for tender in maybe 6 months' time. Parsons Green Depo, challenging site this one. We had an application on this, which we pulled, I believe, due to a few objections. This is really a commercial site, 50,000 square foot of commercial, 120 units. Opportunities to the market here is to work with us to rework that planning application, engage with our tenants more and the local community. Slightly more interesting one if you work in the city. There's 2, I think, or perhaps 3 new entrances going to be placed into Bank Tube Station. One's part of the new Bloomberg development, which is just down the road, I think, on Watling Street. This is the old McDonald's building, if that puts it on a map for you. Perhaps not. But it's right outside Cannon Street Station, pretty much. It's just about to start on site. Tunnelling works will begin. I believe it will then connect into... one connects into where the Waterloo and City Line connects to Bank, and one connects into the northern end of the Northern Line tubes. I forget which one this is. The oversight development's about 120,000 square foot of office here. Okay, Zone 6, so all the way at the top of the Metropolitan line, this one. I'm an internal developer, and our clients are London Underground or London Buses or DLR. The client here, obviously, is London Underground. And what they want us to deliver for them, more often than not, is step-free access and a new station. So the aspiration being for the network to be accessible in the next 10, 20, or fully accessible in the next 10, 20 years. So this is, we're probably going to be completely rebuilding the station here, further up the platforms to where it is now. Much improved public realm, underground car park, better bus interchange, and about 120 houses and flats with new commercial and retail. Back into Prime Central now, so Zone 1. This is a really challenging site. We've tried a few times to deliver it, but not quite got there. If you split the site in 3, I think we've now cracked it. If you split the site in 3, there's the bull nose, which is where all the retail is and the station entrance. And that's also where the focus of that CGI is. I think very poor quality, sorry for that. That's going to be very sympathetically upgraded. It's a heritage site. In the past, there's been very ambitious plans for that, but it's very sympathetic now. We're likely to put one more floor on it, but that's about it. A small capacity upgrade to the tube station. If you go around to the north, sort of little terrace of residential buildings there, that's going to be refurbished residential. We'll punch through one of the buildings to create a new entrance to South Ken with step-free access. The difficult bit is in the south part of the site. So there's a disused platform, which we're going to deck over and create about 30,000, 40,000 square foot of residential. But the key here is it's a heritage site. We want to do the right thing for South Kensington, sense of arrival at the museums, Royal Albert Hall, etc. This is the last one. So this is a huge site, Limo, one of the major Crossrail work sites. It's where most of the dirt was brought out. Interesting fact, actually, all the dirt was taken out of Crossrail from the tunnelling, ships down the Thames estuary and dipped into the Thames estuary. It's now what's called Wallasey Island, managed by the RSPB. So something very good's come out of Crossrail already. But it's an 11-acre huge site. There's no plans worked up to any degree, but it's very close. For those that know it, it's next to, you can just see the spit of land popping out on the left. That's Leamouth Peninsula, which Ballymore are currently on site on. So suitable, we think, for a very high density residential development, perhaps 1,500 to 2,000 units. And that, I think, have I been 4 minutes? Possibly overrun 4 minutes. I'll leave it there. I'll finish where I started with the team. Property is a people business, and we're only going to be able to do all these things by working together. We're very excited about the scale of the opportunity at our fingertips, and hope to work with you over the next 5, 10, 20, 30, 40 years, who knows, to help deliver it. Thank you.